Well, hello, everybody, and welcome back to a very spooky episode of We Watch Shudder. My name is Michelle, and who's here with me?
Spooky
Spooky
JD.
JD. We're haunted by choices from our past.
I'm haunted by choices from my future.
Oh, I'm haunted by the choice to do this podcast. Okay, why are we bringing this energy? Because you were snarky during the last one. That's it. We're just extra snark. Can't help it. Hello, everyone. If it is your first time tuning in, thank you so much for checking us out. If you're checking us out during Spooktober, bonus points. Love that for you. We always put out a new episode every October. At least this is our third year doing it. I have not been doing it since I was a toddler because podcasts were unheard of, and people would have laughed if I said, I want to talk to strangers on the internet. They'd be like, what the fuck is that, child? But we went with a theme this year of just doing movies that had Halloween as a core part of them. Our first year was getting to revisit original and exclusive that came out on Shudder before we started the podcast. So we and then last year we did shorts. So this year, Halloween theme. We're alternating between family friendly content and the more adult stuff. And today kind of leans more on the adult side. JD, what did we watch?
It cracks me up anytime you say we do the more adult stuff because, I mean, that's I get what you mean, but also that's not what you mean at all.
We are watching porn on the podcast.
Horror porn.
Porn.
Like that was that Porno Holocaust, a Joe D'Amato film where it's like cannibal movie with actual pornography. I don't know. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Today, well, not today. It was a while ago, but the episode we're recording today, which by the way is October 2nd, 2024. We didn't do this
not even
just
the one
yesterday.
that you're listening to today.
Right. Anyway, I don't.
It keeps it skipping. It's an illusion.
Time is a flat circle. Here we are, guys. It's an anthology film from 2007. Is that correct, Michelle?
Correct. Yep.
Woohoo! 2007. That I think I had started watching this one time a while back, and then I never got around to finishing it, which is easy to do when it is an anthology film. But it's one that I know a lot of people, especially folks just a little bit younger than me, kind of in your age range. This is one that's really kind of a big deal for those folks. It's an anthology film called Trick or Treat. Trick or Treat. Michelle, had you seen this previously?
I'm going to tell a small anecdote that probably won't be any interesting to, will not be interesting to anybody but me, but fuck it, I have the microphone. I had not seen it until last year.
You said,
no.
but fuck it.
Oh my god, dill pickle.
Pickle.
I had not seen it until last year because I like to do crafts while I watch my horror movies, and October is when I get super into my crafting because I have a lot of movies to watch. And I was putting together a little cross stitch of a chopping mall, which was each room had like little pixelated versions of different horror icons. And I had not seen Trick or Treat. And Sam was one of my little guys in a little box that I was doing. So I had to go check it out. So, yeah. All my crafting people, hello. That's the only reason I mentioned it. It turned out to be a very cute project. And now that I'm thinking about it, probably wasn't even 2 years ago. It was probably like 6 years ago, and I have no idea how time is working. But I know my living room was in a completely different rearranged position. So it probably was like 3 years ago.
It was in that house, though, for sure?
Yeah, it was definitely in this house.
Cool.
The couch was in a different spot. The wall was not painted. I'm now realizing completely different setup.
Yeah, I've seen this mentioned on several like best Halloween movies or best Halloween horror movies lists. I know our mutual friend Marlon Wells is especially fond of this film, and I've talked to other folks again who really dig it. I, of course, everybody knows I'm really picky and particular about anthology films, just like I am about fucking everything. But this is the first time for sure that I have seen this all the way through. So I'm going to give you guys a quick summary of the film from. This time we pulled it off Wikipedia because the one on IMDb is just a mouthful and it's dumb. Here it is. Trick or Treat relates 4 Halloween horror stories with a common element in them. Sam, a trick-or-treating demon wearing orange footy pajamas and a burlap sack over his head. Trick or Treat, 2007, 82 minutes. Michelle.
Yeah.
Please tell us your spoiler-free thoughts about Trick or Treat.
Yeah. So I generally like anthologies. I do enjoy when I get to watch a short story and then I got to watch many of them in a row. That's really fun for me. A problem that I have with anthologies usually is that they sometimes feel very disconnected and it's hard to keep up with the tone of what is happening. You know, one short story will be kind of campy and a little funny, and then the next one will try to actually be horror, and then we'll go back to like something completely different vibe. And it'll hop around a lot. Learning that this one had a single writer and director was not surprising when I got done because everything feels very cohesive. There's a good overlap in the stories and the characters. And the general tone throughout is the same. It's not quite a comedy, but it does have funny moments that are also pretty dark. So learning that one person did this made a lot of sense because it felt like one individual package. I enjoyed it. It's not like my favorite movie ever, but I probably will also add this to my rotation of Halloween films. There's a lot to enjoy. It's really well done. The writer director did another holiday movie that I really enjoyed, Krampus. So I hope that he starts putting out other ones. We could use more Thanksgiving ones, maybe like I don't know. I started thinking of holidays, but none of the holidays I was thinking of were funny. So I don't know, like a National Dog Day. That would be great. I am going to go with a 4.5 for this one.
4.5 from Michelle on Trick or Treat. That's a pretty hot damn good score, Michelle.
Yeah, I would like to see if you give it a hot, good damn score, JD. Would you like to hit us with your spoiler-free thoughts?
Yeah, I would love to hit you with my spoiler-free thoughts. This is alright. I didn't actively dislike it in any way. I will tell you that, again, because it's been a little while since I actually watched the movie for a minute, I got this mixed up with another anthology film that we I don't know, was it already released as they listen to this, the one for Tales of Halloween? I don't remember. It doesn't matter.
It should be because we've recorded it already.
Yeah, I couldn't remember if we had or not. I don't, Michelle. I you know, I have no memory. Yeah. Anyway, no, this is good. I like the Sam character. As a way to link all this together, I do very much appreciate, like you said, it's an anthology, but it's almost an anthology the way Pulp Fiction is an anthology, right? Like there are these separate chapters of the story, but it is also telling a larger overall story. It's very cohesive. There are moments here where you get like background elements from some of the chapters in the other chapters. It's really well made in that sense. I guess just for me, there's not a lot of it that really resonated. Like, there's no particular part of it that's jumping out to me, except just the Sam character and the design of that. They do something with it in the film, one thing in particular that I was not happy about. But overall, it was solid. I don't mind that I saw it. It's not anything that I'm going to go out of my way to see again, but I totally get why people like it. Also, Anna Paquin is in it, and Brian Cox is in it. And those are two people who are awesome. 3 skulls. Trick or treat.
3 skulls from JD. 4.5 from me. That gives it a 3.75 out of 5 human skulls on average.
Yup.
Yep. Well, should we get into spoiler territory? get right in it?
I think we should. If you don't want to have the movie spoiled for you before you get to see it, pause the episode right about meow. Michelle.
Yeah.
So, I do know that even though you also watched this quite a while ago before we recorded, you also just a moment ago before we sat down to record watched sort of a recap of the film overall.
Yes.
Do you
A
want to
quick 10-minute
remind us?
one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
do you want to remind us the plot of Trick
Yeah.
or Treat?
For sure. This one, it was because I knew there were multiple stories and I could not remember all of them, so I just had to go check out a summary of like what happened in this movie again, and then write down like to make sure I did not forget like a huge story, like the school bus massacre, which is a big part of this and completely escaped me. So basically, in Trick or Treat, everybody needs to abide by the rules of Halloween, or else this little fucker named Sam, he's gonna get you. He's gonna get you so good. So the first rule is to leave up your decorations until Halloween is over. And this girl, she has such a hatred for Halloween. Like, did hatred kill your parents? What is your problem, lady? So she decides that Halloween isn't even over. Doesn't even seem to be very late out. But she's going to take decorations down because doing that at like 10 or 11 p.m. at night also seems like the most practical way. You know, why not wait until it's daytime? No, I will be outside as a woman in a unlit area taking down Halloween decorations on a night that's full of mischievousness. So she gets fucking murdered. And then next is to always check on your candy. And this little boy, who seems to be kind of a dick because he's like breaking pumpkins and stuff, and then he steals a entire bowl of candy. But then his principal catches him, and he's giving him a little lecture. He's like, "Ah, Billy, back in my day," or whatever the fuck he said. But then it turns out that he poisoned the little boy, and now that little boy is throwing up everything he has ever eaten. I don't. This is gonna be a weird comment coming from me, but I really like the vomit. That was a pretty cool vomit. It looked delicious. Like I kind of wanted to put my mouth under his because it looked really yummy. I can't believe I said that. That's so gross. But so the principal has to go hide the body of this boy, and his grumpy neighbor's talking to him. It's like Home Improvement, but not as charming. And his son's yelling at him about how he wants to carve the jack-o'-lantern. And then they go downstairs to bond as a father and son. And turns out that they're carving a jack-o'-lantern, which is the little boy. The son's fucked up too. Generational trauma. And then we have the Halloween school bus massacre, which this one's not a rule. It's an urban legend. Maybe there was a rule there. Oh, the rule was to keep your jack-o'-lanterns lit. That's the rule from the Halloween school bus massacre. Anyway, this girl is kind of bitchy. She tells a story of a bus driver who wanted to drown a bunch of kids because their parents asked him to, which is why I don't have kids, because I'm worried I would be one of those of just like, this is too much responsibility. Please take them away. And then they scare the little girl, Rhonda or Wanda or something like that. They go down to the quarry, and the bitchy girl kicks over a lantern. It blows out, and now the ghouls are coming because she blew out the last lantern. So the weird kid gets in an elevator and fucks right off because that elevator still has lit pumpkins, and she's like, "No, why would I save you? You were kind of a dick." And you know what? As a fellow weird girl who knew way too much about spooky stuff and who everyone kind of avoided, good for her. Good for her. And then the next one, this one I also can't figure out what the rule is supposed to be, but it essentially is a werewolf party. Anna Paquin, she is a virgin looking for her first time, and you're like, oh man, she's talking about sex. Tee hee, how silly. But then it turns out her first time is actually just murdering the principal from earlier because he attacks her, she attacks him back, and he's like, please help me. And she starts tearing off her skin. All these girls are stripping, and then they're really stripping. That is my favorite story from this one, by the way. I just love the idea of like bunch of girls, you know, just bonding as ladies. And then the last rule that is broken in this is always hand out candy or give a trick. If a trick or treater comes to your door, you better give them candy or abide by the rules. So the grumpy neighbor who we saw earlier, he does not hand out candy to the children. How dare he? So Sam shows up to kill him. And this was completely missed on me the first time that I saw this. But Sam goes to stab the grumpy neighbor, stabs him in a piece of candy, which technically fulfills the rule that he received candy so Sam can just go away now. I had to go look up what I missed because I did not see what that was about. But then the dead school kids show up and they murder the neighbor anyway because he was the school bus driver. So that's the summary of all 5 main stories from this thing. Okay, JD.
Yeah.
Any comments? Yeah.
Oh, typically you end by saying the title and something quirky. I was waiting for you to hit that beat. No, it's fine.
I was so proud of myself for knowing all the details that I didn't. I entered a fugue state.
Yeah. This is like I said, what I really do appreciate about this is the way everything ties back into everything else. I agree with you. It's a very well structured film. It's very cohesive in a way that a lot of anthology films are not. I think if I had to pick a favorite out of the different segments, I did really enjoy the Halloween School Bus Massacre segment. That was probably my favorite of the different bits, if you include the sort of epilogue where the ghosts come back and get Krieg. Like those two, that element of it, I really enjoyed the most here. What part of this did you enjoy the most, Michelle?
Oh, the werewolf party.
Oh, okay.
Although second would be the school bus massacre, but I remember the first time I saw this, I was so surprised and did not see that coming at all, which now it's so obvious. Like, this is so, like, it's clearly not talking about, like, her actually finding a date. And I know that now, but part of it is I was just cross-stitching. I was not fully paying attention and trying to figure out the story before they told me it. So I was really surprised. And then I love the effects in that part. You know, I classically don't really love creature features, but apparently I like women turning into creatures. And the fact that they're just like all transforming and eating a bunch of dudes. I don't know, like I don't want to say fuck the patriarchy, but at the same time, man, fuck the patriarchy. This made me more of a feminist. I love it.
Go ahead. Say fuck the patriarchy. It's fine. I know. I am frankly really impressed with some of the casting they got here. They got Dylan Baker, who isn't like, I mean, not a huge name, but a great character actor who has been in some stuff. You know, they got Brian Cox, they got Anna Paquin, they got Leslie Bibb. It's really, I don't know, the more I sit and think about it, the more I honestly think that I might have gotten the wrong impression from this film, because as we're going through that summary, I am more and more remembering the way this all ties together. Like I said, I almost don't even see it as an anthology. It feels more like, you know, like I said, like a movie like Pulp Fiction, where it's more just a story being told out of order than it is an anthology. But what did I mentioned there was a thing about
you didn't like with what they did with the character. I wanted to know about that.
With Sam, and I'm not even, this is another thing where I'm not even 100% sure how I feel about it, because I feel like the way they did it, like the effect or the design itself was really well done, but I kind of wish they hadn't taken his hood off. How did you feel? You agree? You wish they had just kept his hood on? Like that is a really sweet sort of pumpkin skull head. You know, it's not that it's poorly done. There just is something to me that was just extra creepy about just that fucking canvas head. Or I guess maybe like if they had like pulled the canvas bag off and it was just like a wad of straw and fell apart. Like
Ooh,
I might have dealt
that would
with
have
that,
been neat.
and then he was just headless or whatever, but then he like puts the bag back on, and it kind of like spectrally, supernaturally just seems to kind of like fill up, and maybe you see like stuffing coming out from under the bottom of it, like pushing out as if it's filling from the inside. I don't know. I'm not a, you know, maybe I should make a movie. I don't know. But
I agree that there were better ways that that reveal could be done, but also I would have preferred just no reveal because obviously he's not a regular kid. But I do like that while dressed up, he could be for all we know. He doesn't
yeah,
really do anything super supernatural. He just happens to be there when all these other bad things happen, and he could just be a kid walking across the yard to go kill that lady for taking down her decorations. So
yeah.
I kind of like that there was an unknown for most of it, and I think that would add to the scariness of like this could just be a kid out trick or treating and murdering, and then going on with his life.
Yeah,
Um, One kind of cool thing about Sam, unless did you have a response to that before I hop over to the
no,
character of Sam?
I'm just. It's just interesting to me how the more I sit here and think about this, the more, not even so much for its effectiveness as a horror movie, but I want to go back and watch this to watch like how the story plays together,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like I think I may have been, because I didn't even really understand that this was all done by one person as a single cohesive story until well after I had seen it. And I wonder if maybe just going in understanding that might improve my appreciation of it.
Yeah, I would be curious if you rewatch it. We can talk about it on the Michelle in review for October if you get
Michelle
through it this
in
month.
review. Michelle
Michelle
in
in
review.
review.
Yeah.
We gotta
Okay.
make that like an actual techno song. But
Get
Sam.
Uncle Jeff to put a beat together for us.
Yeah. Sam, I had to go look up whether he was like an actual character or where he came from. Was he, like an actual Halloween character I wasn't familiar with? And Michael Dougherty actually made a little animated cartoon with him called Season's Greetings that is available on YouTube, and that's where the character came about. He just considered him a physical embodiment of Halloween, and Samhain, the other word for Halloween,
Samhain.
is spelled Samhain. So
Samhain.
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 Samhain is
Samhain.
where he came from, and I just thought that was cool because I wanted to go look up, was this a thing I wasn't really familiar with. I like that this movie does interweave a lot of characters and urban legends and things alongside the stories, because one of the things that isn't really a story but does happen is that a killer chases a lady, kills her, and then just props her up on the sidewalk like she's just a prop or a decoration. And that's a pretty well-known urban legend. So they kind of worked in all these little things like that, and I appreciate this too. It's a real good Halloweeny movie.
Yeah, absolutely. I can, like I said, I definitely understand how some people would get this into their favorite Halloween movies. You know, it just didn't quite land with me. But yeah, just from sitting here and talking about it and thinking back on it is interesting. At the beginning of the episode, I was like, I don't know that I would ever watch it again, and now I'm like, I may need to give it one more go. I'm not anytime soon. I want to get away from it for a little while, but then I may need to come back to this one more time. Maybe next Halloween, I'll make it a point to come back and check this one out again and see if anything grows.
Yeah, I would be curious because I'll be watching it next Halloween for sure.
Cool.
One other comment I haven't made yet is that I love how this plays with time. It Each story starts at a certain point, but it's not necessarily told in order, and there is like kind of an overlap. Like we start with what happens at the end, and then obviously like we wrap up with the principal, and then he's murdering or trying to murder Anna Paquin. So at some point, like he was in town murdering another girl. So that all happened in the span of a night. And what time was he out doing things? Being able to overlap these stories and not just making them like their individual segments allowed for some of that. And I really enjoyed it, being able to see the way that characters interact with one another from different parts of it.
Yeah, for sure. So that's trick or treat. I I hammer on the R first of all just to be cheeky, but also because later on in the month we are going to do the 80s Halloween film Trick or Treat. So I want to make sure nobody's confused. Obviously,
I'll
if you've
be
made it
confused
this
no matter what.
well, and I was just going to say, if you've made it this far into the episode and you're still confused about what film we're talking about, man, you got more troubles than I can fix. But
I do have a lot of troubles.
So, if people come back and tomorrow, like as they I do this every time, and Michelle has to remind me. But what if they listen to it later? The next Spooktober 2024 episode after this one is Casper. That's what I'm trying to say. Michelle, had you seen Casper?
So many times.
Okay, we'll talk about that on the next episode. Say goodnight, Michelle.
Good night, Michelle.
For more horror content, visit WeWatchShutter.com, where you'll find our world-famous, patent-pending Ghoul blog and Squelch files, as well as a schedule of upcoming episodes. Find us on social media at WeWatchShutter on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and I guess Twitter if you're still doing that for whatever reason. You can email us. mail@WeWatchShutter.com is the address. mail@WeWatchShutter.com. You can even call and leave us a voicemail, 701-566-9510. No, really. 701-566-9510. Give it a shot. See what happens. We Watch Shutter is a production of Rat Factory Media.